So we're going to talk to you guys about participant management today. The first thing I wanted to discuss even before we went into some of the different features is tips on getting people to actually use participant management. You know, a lot of people will set up all the features, but then if they're not actually instructing their participants on their website, on their race website, then they're not going to use it. Or somebody might email you, and instead of you actually setting them the instructions, you might go in and change it yourself because, I just want to get it done fast. But the key is learning how to train your participants like, hey, you can do this on your own. So one of the things I've seen a lot of, and usually you'll find that the larger races kind of have to come up with more solutions to get people to do this, just because it has a much larger amount of people that are supporting. So create a FAQ page on your website. You can use a RunSignUp tutorial. So basically, think about all the emails that you guys receive. What's the most common things? Maybe something like resend confirmation email, and how to do that with the RunSignUp tutorial. Or, put a link to the confirm registration on your main website page. So just different things to help people understand. I like to also list your FAQs on the contact page. Because people, when they go to contact you, it's usually a question around participant management. I need to change my t-shirt or something like that. So I always say it's a great idea to make people read through your FAQs before they actually send you an email. The edit registration widget. So this is on vacation races. They get a lot of people to people can't figure out how to do something, but if you have that edit registration option here, and you can do that in a custom section, and we can provide, after presentation, we can provide you guys with the actual walkthrough on how to do these things. We're not going to take too much time to do this in this presentation. But yeah, putting this as a link on your registration page, you use the edit registration widget. You probably saw Brian touching on that actually in the previous presentation. So that's a great way for people to come in and edit the registration and what you want to allow them to.
Not enough people are utilizing these custom sections. You guys can jump in here and you can put just about anything in these custom sections. You can reorder them. You can make them not show up on the main page. You can kick them over to the tab section and kind of start to create your RunSignUp page can become a little bit more web page-esque than just the RunSignUp page. Some races have done really nice jobs by doing the really nice YouTube video on the front. Hard cider run. Don't you guys have the YouTube? You guys have a really nice page.
I think he has the YouTube setup on there.
Yeah. Hard cider run. Their site looks nice.
The other thing is when you're sending out race emails, anytime you're sending something out, include the edit registration URL tags. So people are familiar with the email tags in the system. It's just a great way to just, people, they get an email from you, they're probably going to respond if they have a question, and if that's at the end of the email, they might use that instead of reaching out to you. So some of the common participant management features. So you can find the participant management area under participants and then participant management off of the dashboard. So giveaway and question management are very similar. It's just we break them out separately so you can choose different dates that people can edit those types of things. With giveaway, you want to make sure when people can change their t-shirt size by. Obviously, you don't want to let them change their t-shirt size the day before the event when they realize they have the wrong size. And you've already made your orders. By default, it's disabled, so you want to make sure to go in and turn all that stuff on, and then those features will copy over when you renew your race for the following year, but you still have to change your date potentially depending on when your race date is. Add-on management is a little bit different because you want to allow participants to come back in and make purchases that attach to their registration. So, somebody realized they need transportation, you're selling an add-on for transportation or a pasta dinner and they want to buy it, send them a link to go back in and buy it, and then that way it's attached to the registration, it shows up in your reporting instead of having some separate process for them to buy it. And then you can also set up different dates and different events. Like if you have a different cutoff for a marathon for something they want to purchase versus a 5K, you can actually customize it down to the specific event.
So on the giveaway management, if you're using the inventory system, if they want to change their t-shirt and say they want to go to a medium to a large and the large isn't available, will it tell them that, or does it acknowledge?
It's not. It won't be available. So it's just kind of like going back to the registration form. So
that's fine. Okay.
It just won't be there if it's already gone.
So you could leave it on up to race day, so they could change up to race day because it is taking that inventory into account. Beautiful, thank you.
Does it indicate how many are left if it gets down low to a certain point?
It does
Like maybe
not.
5 left or
Not for the runners, no.
something? Okay.
That feature saves so much heartache. It takes a lot of pressure off the racer.
Yeah. Well, if we're gonna curtail it, I'll go off on my quick tangent about that. We're kind of on that topic now. So my before we launched this feature, my volunteers would get screamed and hollered at my race because I chose a large. I want my large shirt, and so it was bad. So the next year we implemented this feature, and one of the things that I did was I added a feature or an option called no shirt. Because you have to, if you're going to do inventory management, you got to have no shirt. Because if you run out of all your shirt sizes, people can't move through the site. But I did no shirt, and I give a negative $5. My shirts are about $10, so the runner can't find a size they want. They're actually going to get a $5 discount. I'm actually making $5 more on that runner. And like you're saying, expectations are met during registration. So when they show up to get their packets, they know they never chose a shirt size. And also when we're checking them in, because I don't pre-assign anything, we check in as they show up that day. My volunteer says, oh, Jim Smith, no shirt, here's your bib, bye. And they don't have to, and that way if people come that morning and use the check-in or the sign-up app to sign up that morning, inventory management's still in there. So a person sign up day of can still see whether or not they can get a shirt. So I don't even have to separate pre-registration shirts versus race day shirts. I don't need to know any of that inventory. The system's doing all that work and thinking for me. So
What about the people that don't show up on race day? What do you do with those shirts?
they sit there, and then when I tell people that all their shirts are spoken for, come find me after the race, and then you can purchase a shirt for the difference of the $5 that they saved. I'll give them a shirt at that point. I say, because I know we're going to have no-shows, because everybody's got at least 10 to 20% minimum no-show rate. No.
Jordan, one thing that we put on all of our sites is always have your policy on what you do as far as whether they can pick up afterwards. We put on all ours, that 48 hours after the event, all giveaways will be donated to charity, all awards will be recycled so that we don't get. I'm serious, I had an email 2 weeks ago from some lady in a race last October. I never picked up my shirt.
If we had shirts left over from the year before, we'll bring them when we run out of shirts, and we say, we give them the $5 off, and we throw them on a last year's shirt.
Yep.
And they're happy, and they go home.
Simple.
That's the deal is making that customer happy.
Yeah.
You know.
Up to it.
Carry on, sir.
All right, bulk refunds. Nobody really wants to ever have to do a bulk refund. Never. But it happens. The race gets canceled. There was a mistake in pricing. Something like that, and people overpaid. So it's a really great tool because if you think about the pain that you might have had to go through if you've ever had to do multiple refunds in other systems, or if you've ever had to do that manually and writing out checks. You can either do partial or full refunds. You can refund up to 1,000 registrations at a time. You can actually copy and paste the registration IDs from reporting. So you just run a participant report, pull out the registration IDs. You want to make sure you're going to get an error message if you keep your free registrations in there, because we're not going to refund somebody back money that hasn't paid you. It's always a $1 per refund in RunSignUp, and we don't refund the processing fee, so you have to decide whether you want to make that up. So we'll actually give you the calculations if you want to refund them in full, or if you want to hold back the processing fees. Bulk race transfers. So this is getting more popular by the day. Scott touched on too in Brian's presentation. So if you're running a race series and they're all set, everybody's registering like into one big race, or you're doing a bundle. So maybe you have a big race and you're trying to sell your other races in combination. What you can easily do is take that registration data and information, and same thing, you're copying the registration ID and then you're putting it into the other race. Make sure you're not removing the participants from the race. Don't do that. There's very, very unique situations for that, but never check that box because you still want people in your other race to stay in there. So it's a great way to manage the event series, and so you have to deal with spreadsheets really. That's the key, is not having to deal with Excel. In your series races, you really want to try to make them as similar as possible, so it's much easier to map over the data we will have you map it over, and then we'll give you like a confirm screen to make sure the data looks good in the first participant, just to make sure you don't have any mistakes on those imports. So that's how the bulk race transfer works. All right, Jordan.
All right, I gotta talk. Does anybody have any sell-out races, wave races, anything like that? Perfect. The sell-out races or wave races. So we found, like, I don't think we have enough people that utilize our wait list. We had a great example this year with one of the races. I guess I won't say their name because I'm gonna get their numbers, but they sell out one of their events in like 9 minutes. So it's huge, and I convinced them to utilize the wait list this year. And what happens is, because it was a no refund policy, we're not going to do anything with refunds, and I said, turn the wait list on, see how many people you get in your queue, and then make people like you by giving them refunds, because at the longer distance races, people are registering 6 months, 8 months in advance. So they turned the wait list on. They ended up having somewhere between, I think, 400 to 500 people or something on the wait list. And then, as always, my training's not going how I want it to. Can I either drop down to the 10K or twisted my ankle, I'm injured, can't run, or I'm traveling, whatever. Can I get a refund? So I told them, yeah, do a refund and then hang on to like $15 or $20. And they ended up issuing a ton of refunds, and then because of the wait list, they were able to actually fill all of those spots, and their race made an extra $12,000 this year by doing that. So if you have races that are selling out, that have waves and stuff like that, utilize this feature, ask us about it. It's really easy to set up. You just check the box and set the dates, as you can see here. You turn the wait list on, so have it start like, depending on how quick your race sells out, maybe 2 days after or something like that, and then you can turn it on. And then when you're going through, you can just simply grab people off this list, and you can just start. Either you could grab people and send them off manually, or as soon as you issued somebody a refund, RunSignUp's going to say, oh, well, this race had 1,000 people in it, now it only has 999. Boom, grabs the next person on the list, sends them an email. You can put a date range in there and say, okay, you're going to have 48 hours or 72 hours to complete this email. Click the link and register. If not, that link dies, and then the next person on the list gets pinged again. And again, you'll have the one person, well, I went into my spam folder, and so you can bring them back in and get them, pop them in a place if you want with a referred registration link. So, but this is a really nice feature. I didn't think a lot of people would have these types of things, but if you do and you want to utilize this, let us know. We can help you get this stuff set up. And again, it's an easy way to help your race make some extra money. And again, it's allowing your runners to like you more because you gave them a refund, and they were just going to Craigslist their bib anyway on Facebook.
If you use dynamic bib assignment, will it give them the other person's number, or will it generate a new number?
Depends on the options you choose. So you can either have that bib number get wiped out, or you can have it run it. But it depends on the options. We've got a toggle key for that we can show you.
Do you charge them to be on the wait list? Or do they have to come back and complete registration, or how does that work?
No, so we don't charge them to be on the wait list. They can, so that's a nice thing because there's no obligation to them. You'll see quite a few people jump on there. Plus you've got all their information. Mm-hmm. So now even if they don't even do your race, next year you can market to them.
Okay.
So it's just automatic. If you have 1,000 entries and I'm in 1,001, I'm automatically, if you click that toggle, I automatically am on the wait list, or I get an email that says I'm on the wait
You'll
list.
sign up. It'll say sign up for the wait list. This race is full. Would you like to sign up for the wait list? Click yes, boom, and now you've got their information.
And the wait list is just an invitation. I now get an email saying, hey, there's a spot. Do you still want it? Or does it automatically register me?
Nope, it's a spot. Do you still want it? And that's when you're setting that time frame. So you as the race director, you're going to say, I'm going to give my participants, we have it defaulted at 48 hours. So from the time this email goes out, they've got 48 hours before that link dies. So they get that email, they can click it and register, or they can let that email just delete it and say, I registered for a different race, whatever. And then after 48 hours is up, the next person on the queue just gets brought in. So obviously as you're getting closer to race day, you might want to shorten your queue from 48 hours down to 24 hours or something like that. So
we have this stupid event. It's not a race, it's a ride. And they have to use this lottery system, and it's just a pain. So you release and they can sign up in the lottery and they have so much time. And then if they don't sign it up, it goes away and then we release to the second group of people, right? And then it all closes and now and then you get the arm wailing, I missed it, you know, blah, blah, blah. Could you do this? Could you just, could you queue them up in a wait list? Let the wait list go and then they sign up? Is that maybe?
Yeah, so you can turn on the wait list and have them all register that way. And then depending on what you want to do, you can either do, if you do FIFO, it's not really a lottery,
Yeah.
right? So, I'm
trying to think about the new lottery
lottery feature.
feature might have, I think has its own management
Or you have a
for,
lottery feature?
Yeah.
so that got released.
That's the next slide.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, that's more, we didn't, yeah, the lottery's a whole nother, we didn't actually cover that today, but there's a brand new lottery feature. You can do basically, you know, set up lottery, people go in, right? I don't know if it does 2 levels though, but it has all the management where people put their credit card in.
Yes.
So then you can then choose to bill those people. And then you wait for all those to come through, and then you can start hitting other people, down the list. If the initial people decide not to, even though they've registered for the lottery.
One thing I forgot to talk about is maximum number of registrants waiting list for a single user. So see, we've got the little 2 sitting over here, right there. You can toggle this and do what you want with this, but what that's nice for is if you make it 2, maybe you want to make it 2, maybe you only want to make it 1, but if you've got friends or you're thinking like couples are going to be coming to do this, then you can make it 2. You can see here, these people only put themselves on the wait list, but if it was like, Bob and Sue, then they would see 2 there. So that way, when it triggers, it's going to trigger both of those people to come in. So if 1 refund goes out, it's going to wait until 2 refunds have gone out and 2 slots have opened up, then that group will get triggered in.
And you can set that number for what you want it to be?
Yep.
If you set that number of reservations for 2, that person on the top list, if they've got 2 registrations waiting, if you get 1 refund, it won't send anything, even to the next person with a single one, it'll wait till 2 to send to that person.
Yeah, otherwise the 2 would never get called, essentially. Now you could go in there and as the race director, if you knew there was this case, whatever, you could go in and manually trigger it off if you wanted to and say, you could hit the edit button and just release that 2. So, you have the power. But for the automated system, it's going to wait. So again, something to think about when you're setting up those numbers.
So you wouldn't want to have a big number in there, because if you set it at 5 and you had 4 refunds, you never fill those slots because you wait for that 5th one to come.
Right, unless it was some sort of relay team event, when it was blocks of 5 or something like that.
So say that they register at the $35 price point and then it fills up and then all these people put their name on the wait list, but now the price technically would have increased to $45 by now. When I release those slots, are the people paying $45 or are they paying $35?
They're paying today's price. But they don't care because they're so excited they got in.
We do deferrals, so rather than issuing a refund, can say somebody signs up, says, can't make it, can we add them to a deferral list, and then once they're added to the deferral list, would that trigger that wait list person to get an email to sign up?
If they've been removed, then yes.
Okay.
Because then all of a sudden the race has an extra slot available. Okay. Do you guys sell out or no?
We have 1 race this year, our first race is sold out, so, but we
Okay.
can do the wait list. I'm kind of interested in this because.
Yeah, so that's one thing, right? So if you defer them, you've essentially made the same amount of money on that person, and maybe they're happy, maybe they're not, but if you refunded them less X amount of money, then they're going to sign up hopefully again next year, so theoretically you're going to make more money on that runner potentially, but at the same time, you've also made them happy by giving them part of their money back and letting them go their separate ways.
Yeah, Vacation Races has in their presentation, they're going to be talking a lot about that. That'll be a good one for you to go to.
Oh, yeah.
So it will save this year's deferrals, and then when you renew the race, it moves into the new race?
No. So that's where you use the reserved entry. So what you do is.
But you have to have your race live in order for the reserve entry, so it still is a manual process. You still keep your list of who's deferred, and then you just send them a reserved entry for next year.
Exactly.
Does anybody not understand what reserved entries are? Because we're kind of talking about a lot, and everybody knows, everybody's used them. No, we got some no's. Okay. Reserved entries, it's actually a special link that you can send to people. So say you're opening, your race is gonna go live in a week from now, but you wanna allow like some legacy people to be able to jump on and register for the event before the public can. You can make the race live today, registration opens next week, and then you can send out these reserved links, and it will allow people to come in and register when the other public couldn't register. These links could equal a specific price as well. So you're kind of.
Can you do it if it caps as well? Raise caps to the public, but you get some folks you want in there, you can send them that reserve link to.
Yeah, you get like one link to a club that's good for like 20 uses,
yeah,
or something like that, or you could create individuals.
What is the best way to get a person from one event or one race to another race, whether it's this year or next year or whenever, so that it will carry with them all their information, all their money?
Participant management,
Right.
view participant, go to edit.
Yep.
Go to manage. At the bottom, do you see transfer?
I do.
So-
I see transfer to another race, but for some reason, we're losing
The money's not gonna,
the money.
the money's always gonna live in the existing race. So when you transfer somebody, you're transferring them into the other race, but the money's always gonna live in that race because that was where the transaction took place. There's no way for that money to transfer over into a new race for your bookkeeper.
Because otherwise, if you're trying to reconcile what we've paid you, if am I going to hold on to $30 for till next year's race and just sit on this $30 from that one transfer, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, but then it might reconcile easier on your versus we just say we paid you here. This runner is worth nothing in this race at this point, and that way you can close out the books for this year's race and then move forward. So. And if you didn't have your race, we would be sitting on this ghost $30 forever.
All right, well, thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Good job, Joe.
Good job.
Proud of you.